Hey guys, Rallyman here, and you're watching Left Hand Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at a racing game, and that is Rallyman. This is actually the 4th edition of Rallyman and was originally released in 2009, designed by Jean-Christophe Bouvier. Forgive me, I'm not very good at pronouncing French. It plays in about 30 to 60 minutes with 1 to 4 players, although I would think that you could probably expand it if you really wanted to. So Rallyman is kind of in the same vein as Formula D or Formula Day, and the fact that it is a racing game where you have cars that are going to be racing on a track, and it's more or less a time attack in which you're trying to get the best time. And this game is actually supposed to be played or recommended to be played in a series of 3 races, so it ends up being the best of 3 races, and as you're traveling around the track, you're accumulating time cards, and that's going to tell you what your time is at the finish of the race. Let's take a look at what comes in the box. One thing I wanted to say before we dive into the game is I wanted to give a shout out to James McCain, our favorite Aussie reviewer, because I had never heard of this game until he reviewed it a year or 2 ago. Maybe it was longer than that. I think he reviewed the 1st or 2nd edition of the game, and because of him, I learned about this game and really was hoping for a U.S. distribution, which it finally did come to the U.S., and here we have the 4th edition. So again, let's take a look at what comes in the box, and I'll give a quick overview of what's different between the older editions and this most recent one. Rallyman comes in a relatively small box, but I think it's perfect for the game. You know, a lot of games these days come in these giant boxes that they don't need. I think this was an appropriate sized selection. So let's open it up. And the first thing you're going to see here is this monstrosity of a rule book. It is 56 pages long, and you're going to have to read every single page before you can even hope to play this game. Alright, so I was lying about that. Basically, the reason it's 56 pages is because the manufacturers of Rallyman and the designers had the heart to put it into 8 different languages. So props to them for doing that right off the bat. So the English, I think, starts at page 8. So it starts here, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, and then a 7th page. And it's a good size type. There's lots of pictures. So all in all, you can read through this in probably about 15, 20 minutes. Next thing we have in here are the boards. Let's see if I can get them out without tearing the box. So there are 4 different boards. Each board is going to have, I believe, 10 different entry/exit points on it, and they are all double-sided. One side is going to be have the asphalt on it, and the other side is going to be the same course, only with snow. So these are the boards, and you can create your rally as large or as small as you want, depending on how many of these boards you want to put together. And if you're familiar with the rally racing, you know it's not like NASCAR or Formula 1 or any sort of circuit training, because there is not a continuous loop. It is a start point and it goes to an end point. So you don't have to worry about setting these up in such a way that they end up creating a closed circuit. So for example, we could put this one here, and you could say, go from, down here, sorry for the glare, and down through here and to the end, and that's it. And that would be a nice short race. Or you can add in, another one, add this in down here. So now you start here maybe and go all the way around. So, I forget how many they say there are, but there's, 11 billion combinations of the 4 different boards, and having 8 total sides. So lots and lots of different replayability with that, which is a lot of fun. And the fact that, if you have some friends that like to play this a lot, you can keep doing the same tracks several times and, see if you can improve your time or so on and so forth. So, sorry. So there's that. All right, let's see what else we got here in the box. You have this pad here of the sheets that you use for recording the racers, the times, and all sorts of other fun information. You have these black discs that are used when you spin out and when you lose control and stuff, and I'll get into that when we talk about the rules. You have your dice here. These dice are phenomenal. They're very nice, heavyweight plastic. They kind of have a digital looking numbering system. because this corresponds to the gears of the vehicle, and you have 2 white acceleration dice in here as well, so awesome dice. We have some dirt markers here, which are used when you take shortcuts to the dirt. You have the possibility of spitting up dirt back on the track and hampering other players. You have some more of those black markers that I just showed you, as well as the start and finish flags. We have our MRCs, our micro rally cars, and you can see these are itsy bitsy little things. It's got a little warning on there that says don't feed it to your children. We have our second tokens here. You can earn these and spend them throughout the game. I'll explain how to do that. We have our dashboards here. These are what you're going to use to track the number of dice that you can roll, as well as your tire type, and they have 2 different sides depending on the type of tire that you're going to use. And then you have all your various cards here. So let's set up a game and we'll run through the rules. So I'm just going to show us just a short race using one board, and this will be more or less the starting setup. So you have all your time cards, also known as the gear cards, set up here at the top. You have your K cards that are used for shortcuts, shortcut cards. You have your black markers, your time markers, dirt markers. Each person gets a Sisu card, or Saisu, which is a Finnish word for the fighting spirit of a rally car driver. And this is actually a new addition to this version as well. And what you can do is you can cash this card in to avoid losing control once during the game. Everyone also starts with a spare tire card, which you can use to fix a flat tire. We have our dashboard here, and you can see this is the snow tire side, and if you flip it over, this is the asphalt tire side. And the difference between the two is shown here by the penalty. So if you're using an asphalt tire, on asphalt, 3 hazard symbols means you spin out, and I'll explain what those are in a second. Or if you're using an asphalt tire on snow, only 2 hazard symbols causes you to spin out. And then conversely, on the snow side, 3 hazard symbols on a snow is a spin out, and 3 hazards on asphalt is a spin out. So they're the same, but because you're using these snow tires on asphalt, you're only allowed to use 1 white die instead of 2 when you're on asphalt. So first, before the race starts, you'll choose which side. We'll just use the asphalt side since we're racing on an asphalt track. We have our start banner set up over here and our micro rally car here. The finish banner's over here, so we know that this is the finish line. And we have all our dice. Now each one of the black dice corresponds to a gear for the car, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the 2 white dice are your acceleration dice. So the first thing that you're going to do, since we're starting the race, is everyone starts in neutral. So the very first gear that you can go in is first gear. So you're going to roll the first gear die. And we just rolled it on the nice 1 side, so nothing bad happens. So then you move your micro rally car up 1 space. The basic rule of the game is you roll 1 die, you move up 1 space. Then we would roll the 2 die. And we rolled a 2, so everything's safe. So now we're in second gear, we move another space. Now we can see we're going to be coming up on this first turn, and the turn has a 1 on the inside track or a 2 on the outside. So the 1 means the maximum gear you can be in to go through this turn is first gear. So you're going to be at a slower gear going through it, but it's only 1 space. Boom, boom. Or you can enter and travel through the turn at a higher gear by drifting or sliding, or skidding as they call it, I believe, on the outside of the track. And that's going to let you leave the turn in a higher gear. And when you're doing the drift, you must be in this exact gear. So we need to keep that in mind as we are getting closer to the turn. So now I'm going to roll the 3rd gear die. And we roll a 3, and we move up. And now I can choose if I want to keep going up in gears, which would be a bad idea because then I'm going to end up spinning out, or I can roll these acceleration dice. And the acceleration dice is basically a continuation of the present gear. So let's say I may roll 1 acceleration die. I didn't get a hazard symbol, so then I move 1 more. I could roll another acceleration die, but that would be continuing me in 3rd gear, and 2 is the highest I could be in, so I would end up spinning out and that's a bad thing. So I'm going to elect to end my turn now in third gear. So what I'm then going to do is grab a third gear card here and put it into my tableau over here. And this is going to have a 30-second symbol on it, meaning this is going to add 30 seconds to my total race time. And it's as simple as that. Now, when it's back to your turn again, you can start in the same gear that you ended in, or one gear above or one gear below. So you can see why I ended in third gear is because now I'm going to start in second gear and drift around the corner here. So I'm going to roll my 2 and skidding around the outside. I'm going to roll an acceleration die, skid, another acceleration die, skid, and now I'm leaving the corner in second gear, so now I can roll my third gear, boom, move up, roll my fourth gear, hazard symbol, but you still move up, and roll my, say I wanted to roll my fifth gear, but in this case I'm not going to because now we have another sharp turn coming up. So I'm going to end in fourth gear, take a fourth gear time card, stick it on top of my third, and that's the end of my turn. Now, I have been showing you that you can, when you roll these dice, a hazard symbol can come up. Now, if 3 hazard symbols come up, then you're going to spin off the track. And that can be a bad thing. Now, what happens is you're always going to advance to the space in which you rolled the die. So, let's say I'm on this straightaway here, and I rolled a die, and it came up a hazard symbol. Say I'm in third gear. I roll a third gear, comes up as a hazard symbol. I still move. I roll the fourth gear die, hazard symbol. I still move. I roll the fifth gear die, hazard symbol. I still move, but now I'm spinning out in fifth gear. So what you do is you grab a fifth gear card, because I'm ending my turn in fifth gear. Your turn immediately ends when you spin out, and you flip it over to the other side, and you see what happens. Now, when you spin out, you can see this is immediately puts you in neutral, and it adds 1 minute to your time. So that's really nasty. And this is telling me that I'm going to spin off the road to the right. So I'll put that down here in my tableau. And I spin off the road to the right. Smash. Uh-oh. This is rocks and mountains, and that can be very, very bad. So each board is going to have a little key down here that tells you what happens depending on what terrain you leave the road in. Grass is okay, dirt's okay. Forest, you lose one, you do 1 point of damage, or in rock, which we've hit, you do 2 points of damage. And that's when you use these little guys, and you're going to place them now onto your dashboard. So I need to cover up 2 of my die symbols now. So that, ouch, that hurts. So now for the remainder of this race, I can only use 1, 2, 3 black dice and my 2 acceleration dice, and they can be any 3. You're not killing off specific gears like first and second. You're just saying you can roll a maximum of 3 black dice. So very, very bad to spin off the road. You'd say, well, if I have 2 hazard symbols, why would I take the risk and roll a third die? Well, it's just that. It's a risk. It's a risk-reward type system in this game where you can try to push your luck and keep going and run the risk of running off the track. Now, there is another way of rolling dice. So instead of rolling them one at a time, you can do what the game calls a time attack, which is where you determine all the dice that you're going to roll for your turn, and you roll them all at once. So again, let's back up here. And let's say I came out of the turn in second gear. So let's say I'm in second gear right now. And I'm going to say, all right, talk to myself here and say, all right, well, I plan to go to, I'm going to start in third because I can start above 1 gear. So I'm going to do third, fourth, fifth, accelerate. So I'm going to take the 3, 4, 5 accelerate dice here, and I'm going to roll them all at the same time. Now, once you roll them, you can rearrange them in any way that you want, but you kind of got to plan it out ahead of time so you know what dice you're going to roll, because once you roll them, you have to use them all, if possible. So, here we go. So, I rolled 2 hazard symbols, so I'm okay. So I can arrange these in any such way that I want, and so I can end up doing just what I wanted to do before. So we'll say, okay, accelerate, accelerate, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear. I'm sliding around the outside. Simple as that. Now, let's say this is what I rolled. Alright, now I have 3 hazard symbols. So I'm going to spin out. But it's up to me to determine how I want to arrange these dice to spin out. So what I'll probably do is say I'll do it, I'll probably just do it this exact same way. And I'd end up spinning out here on the 5, so I'd have to take another 5 card, flip it over, and now I'm going to go off the road again. So it's a risk-reward system, and the reason, well, why would you ever want to roll all of them at the same time? Because that's always going to be a bigger risk because you can't see the hazard symbols stacking up one at a time. Well, the reason is for each die that you roll, no matter if you spin out, even if they're all hazard symbols, for each die that you roll on this turn, you get to take a 1 second time token here. And these can be used for a couple different things. At the end of the game, you subtract all your time tokens that you've collected from your total race time to get your final race time. So this is going to help take off time. Or if you're doing the, say you've collected some of these tokens and you're doing the 1 at a time roll, the cautious roll, if you end up rolling 2 of these and you're afraid that you're going to roll another hazard symbol, you can pay 1 second to not roll the die and have it automatically be successful and move your car. And then let's say I want to use this one, and again, I don't want to risk it being a hazard, so now I pay 2 second tokens. And let's say I want to use the last one, I pay 3 second tokens, which here I don't have, but if I did, I could pay it. So again, you can use these to prevent yourself from spinning out. You have to pay them ahead of time, of course, or you can use them to take time off at the end of the game. And actually there's one other component of the course, and that is the shortcuts here, which are marked with a K. Now when you go through a shortcut, it's 1 space, and again you can see it's a shortcut from here to here. And what's good about the shortcuts is that, yes, it's technically the same distance for this particular shortcut to go 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3. It's the same distance, but you can go through the shortcut at a higher rate of speed, and when you go through the shortcut, you draw a K card, a shortcut card, and flip it over. Most of them are going to say go, which is good. You just continue on like nothing happened. But there are some that are hazardous, such as this one here. This is a flat tire. And when you get a flat tire, you have to use one of those black markers to cover up one of your acceleration die on your dashboard. So now you have 1 fewer acceleration die that you can use. And there's also a shortcut card in here or 2. Let's see if I can find one here. That kicks dirt up onto the track. So this is a detriment to the people that are behind you in the race. So when that comes up, you're going to throw a piece of dirt up onto the track. And what that does is subtracts -1 from all the values, or they call them notes, the notes on the turn. So this 3 becomes a 2, and these 4s become 3s. And these will stack, so you can put another one on, so then it's -2 if somebody else goes through the shortcut and kicks dirt. And the last terrain feature that I just want to touch on here is some of the tracks have jumps. So we can see a jump right here, and this shows you this is a jump with a value of 3. So if you're approaching this jump and you pass through it with a value lower than the indicated value, you're just going to move on it like a normal move. So let's say I roll a 2, second gear die, I move onto it, and so on. If you hit the jump at the indicated speed, you're actually going to jump over it. So you're going to hit the jump and go here. So instead of moving from here to here, you're going to move from here to here. If you hit it at 1 above, you're going to jump 2 spaces. If you hit it at 2 above, you're going to jump another space. And if you happen to roll a hazard symbol on the 2 above number, meaning in this case if I roll a 5 and the 5 was a hazard symbol, you'll still travel to the indicated space, but you'll lose control and again flip over a 5 card, if it was a 5 in this case, and take the event there crashing off the side of the road. So it's important to note that when you leave the road, due to a hazard, losing control or whatever. The higher value time card or the higher value gear that you are in, the more likely you are to spin off the side of the road and cause yourself damage. Because on the back of the 5th gears, most of them are going to have this spin out off the side of the road symbol, whereas there's going to be a much smaller mix as you go down in the gears, and in the 1st gear most of them are just this flip around, which is you don't go off the road, your car flips around, and you still have to start in neutral again, and you get 1 minute, but at least you don't leave the road and cause yourself any damage. One other interesting aspect of this game when playing with multiple players is the ability to overtake other cars. So as you're racing, you're allowed to overtake your opponents on straightaways so long as there is literal space for your car to move by. If there are 2 cars here, you wouldn't be able to pass by them here. In corners, though, they take up the entire corner, so you cannot pass them by. And finally, we also have the shortcuts corners here. If there's a car in the shortcut, you're allowed to pass them in the corner, and vice versa. If there's a car in the corner, you can pass them with the shortcut. And finally, you can always pass someone if they are spun off the side of the road. So if this car spun off on this corner, then you can pass through it. So what do you think of Rallyman? I think Rallyman is a fun game, but it's definitely a game that is meant to be played with your friends in a fun party type atmosphere, or a guys get together, girls get together atmosphere. It's not a hardcore Euro game. I found this game dull when I played it with people that weren't really good friends of mine, because there's really no banter, and at heart the game is dice rolling, and so people can say, oh well, yeah, that causes a lot of luck. But in my opinion, kind of similar to some of the other games I've reviewed and called them beer and pretzel games or beer and sake games, this is meant to be played with friends, laughing, joking, taunting. That's really what makes this game shine. Otherwise, it can be, I would say, a little dull. One thing I do like is that the game is playable solitaire, and I just love my solitaire games because I don't always have people to play with. So you can set up tracks and just play them to try to improve your times. There's also a near infinite amount of customization that can be done with all the different track configurations, snow side, asphalt side. You can roll the dice in the standard cautious mode, or you can roll the dice in the time attack mode and hedge your bets a little bit and collect those time tokens and eventually hope to reduce your time. You can get flat tires, you can get damage, you can repair your flat tires. Depending on what you agree to with your other players, at the end of each of the 3 races in your rally championship, you can repair the cars, or you can have that you cannot repair the cars, or that everyone starts with 1 spare tire for the entire game, or gets 1 spare tire at the beginning of each race. So there's a lot of different things you can do depending on how hardcore you are with the game, and I really like that aspect of it. The only negatives that I have to say, and of course these are going to be nitpicky, is that the cards are half-size. I really dislike half-size cards just because I have big, bare hands, and I kind of was hoping that they would be large-sized cards after I saw James's review of the original edition. But again, it's nitpicky. The cards are pretty decent quality, nice matte finish, so can't complain too much. And the other thing is the start and finish flags are just, again, they're the card material. They're same as a card, and actually they came on a card and you had to cut them out. So that kind of hurt my soul a little bit, but you cut it up. And again, this is nitpicky. This would not prevent me from purchasing this game in the future, but no review is complete unless you can find a couple negatives. I would like maybe a little bit more tire choices, a little bit more terrain choices, maybe some more tracks, different track terrains and things like that. Maybe dirt. So as you can see here, a lot of my gripes are going to be answered with the expansion Rallyman Dirt. So you're going to have to stay tuned until I get this one filmed and uploaded online to see what Rallyman Dirt adds. So until that point, definitely give Rallyman a serious look if you enjoy racing games, or if you've never played one and are looking for one to get into. I think this is a great jumping off point because it's very quick and easy to learn. It's great for gamers and non-gamers. It's fun for the family because it's so accessible and easy to teach. You can play with younger kids, you can play with older adults. I think it's just a great game for hardcore racers, friends, or family. So definitely give Rallyman a try, and stay tuned for the review of the expansion Rallyman Dirt.